Imagine that you are crouching behind a wall made of sticky mud and rotting logs on a foggy morning in Louisiana. It is the 8th of January in the year 1815. The air is thick with the smell of swamp gas and burnt gunpowder and nervous sweat. You are standing on the edge of the Mississippi River just a few miles south of the city of New Orleans. In front of you is a flat and muddy field covered in sugar-cane stubble that disappears into the white mist. Somewhere out there in that ghost-gray fog is the most terrifying military machine on the planet. The British Army has come to take America apart, and they are marching straight toward you. You are about to witness the most lopsided and legendary victory in the history of American warfare. This is the Battle of New Orleans. To understand why you are shivering in the mud today, you must understand the stakes of this moment. The War of 1812 has been dragging on for years. The British have already burned the White House and the Capitol in Washington to the ground. Now they have turned their eyes to the south. New Orleans is not just a city. It is the key to the entire continent. Whoever controls the mouth of the Mississippi River controls all the trade and all the life of the American interior. If the British take this city, they could choke the United States to death and maybe even reverse the Louisiana Purchase. The entire future of the young nation is balancing on a knife's edge right here in this swamp. Leading the defense is a man who looks like he is already half dead. His name is Andrew Jackson, but his men call him Old Hickory because he is as tough and unbending as wood. He is gaunt, and his face is yellow with jaundice, and he is so sick with dysentery that he has to be propped up just to stand. But his eyes are burning with a terrifying fire. He hates the British with a passion that goes back to his childhood, when a British officer slashed him with a sword for refusing to clean his boots. Jackson has sworn an oath to the people of New Orleans. He said, "I will smash them, so help me God." But look at the army he has assembled to do this smashing. It is the most ridiculous and ragtag collection of human beings ever gathered in one place. There are roughly 4,000 men here. You have Tennessee frontiersmen in buckskins carrying long rifles. You have French-speaking Creole aristocrats from the city. You have free men of color who have formed their own battalions to fight for their home. You have Choctaw warriors with painted faces who know the swamps better than anyone. And most incredibly, you have pirates. Yes, pirates. The infamous Jean Lafitte and his band of smugglers from Barataria Bay have joined Jackson. They are wanted criminals with a price on their heads, but Jackson needs their flints and their gunpowder and their expertise with cannons. It is a Noah's Ark of an army fighting against the disciplined professionals of the empire. Across the field, the enemy is a stark contrast. General Sir Edward Pakenham is the brother-in-law of the Duke of Wellington himself. He has brought 8,000 of the finest soldiers in the world to this swamp. These are the men who defeated Napoleon's armies in Europe. They wear pristine red coats and carry polished muskets, and they look at Jackson's muddy ditch with absolute contempt. Pakenham calls the Americans dirty shirts, and he believes that one strong push will make the rabble run away in terror. He is so confident that he has supposedly packed a diamond tiara in his luggage to crown a new queen of New Orleans at the Victory Ball. The Americans have built a defensive line called the Rodriguez Canal. It sounds impressive, but it is really just a glorified ditch behind a mud rampart. For days, the men have been digging in the mud while British rockets screamed overhead. They have dragged cotton bales and logs to reinforce the wall. It is ugly and it smells terrible, but it is strong. And behind that wall, Jackson has placed his artillery. The pirates are manning the big guns, and they are grinning because they finally get to shoot at the Royal Navy legally. The night before, the battle is agonizingly long. You can hear the British digging their own batteries in the dark. You can hear the distant hum of thousands of men moving into position. Jackson sleeps only fitfully. He walks the line in the darkness, telling his men, "They will not sleep on our soil." The plan is simple. The British are going to launch a massive frontal assault at dawn. They plan to use the cover of darkness and fog to get close, and then storm the wall with ladders and fascines, which are bundles of sticks used to fill the ditch. The morning of the 8th breaks with a heavy fog rising from the river. It is so thick you cannot see your own hand in front of your face. This is perfect for the British. Under this cloak of invisibility, the Redcoats begin their march. You can hear them before you see them. The rhythmic thumping of thousands of boots on the soft ground, and the eerie drone of bagpipes wailing in the mist. The Highlanders are coming. But then something happens that seems like divine intervention. As the sun rises higher, the wind shifts. In a matter of minutes, the fog is blown away. Suddenly, the curtain is lifted. The American defenders look out and gasp. The entire field is filled with a sea of red. The British army is marching in perfect formation with flags flying and bayonets gleaming in the morning sun. It is a magnificent and terrifying sight. They are just 600 yards away and closing fast. Now the British plan begins to fall apart in a heartbreaking way. The 44th Regiment was supposed to carry the ladders and the fascines to cross the ditch. But in the confusion of the dark, they forgot them. Can you believe it? The entire invasion force is marching toward a wall they cannot climb because someone forgot the ladders. The commander of the regiment realizes his mistake and runs back to get them. But it is too late. The rhythm is broken, and the men are confused. Andrew Jackson sees the red lines approaching. He waits until they are within range. He gives the order. Give it to them, boys. The American artillery erupts. The pirate gunners blast grapeshot into the tightly packed British ranks. Grapeshot works like a giant shotgun shell, spraying hundreds of iron balls at once. The effect is gruesome. Massive holes are torn in the British lines. Men are knocked down like bowling pins. But the British are professionals. They close the gaps and keep marching forward. Then comes the rifle fire. The Tennessee and Kentucky marksmen level their long rifles on the mud wall. These weapons are slower to load than muskets, but they are deadly accurate. They pick off the officers first. You can see the British captains and lieutenants falling one by one. The order to fire ripples down the American line. It is a continuous sheet of flame. The British are trapped in a kill zone. They are standing in the open field with no cover, and the mud is sucking at their boots, making it hard to run. They reach the ditch, but they have no ladders. They are stuck there helpless, while the Americans fire down on them from the top of the wall. It is not a battle anymore. It is an execution. The British soldiers are confused and terrified. They look for their officers to tell them what to do, but the officers are all dead in the mud. General Pakenham sees his army disintegrating. He rides forward on his horse, waving his hat to rally his men. He screams, "For shame! Remember that you are British soldiers." But a blast of grapeshot kills his horse and wounds him in the knee. He struggles to his feet, and another shot hits him in the arm. Finally, a shell fragment strikes him in the spine and kills him instantly. The commander is dead. The second-in-command, General Gibbs, is also killed. The third-in-command, General Keane, is severely wounded. The British army is decapitated. Without leadership, the discipline collapses. The Highlanders, known for their bravery, are left standing still in the open field, waiting for orders that never come. They are mowed down in rows. The American fire is so intense that the British soldiers later describe it as a lead rain. Some of the British soldiers simply lie down in the mud and pretend to be dead just to survive the storm. Finally, a bugle sounds the retreat. The survivors turn and run back through the carnage to the safety of the woods. As the smoke clears, the Americans climb over their wall to see what they have done. The sight is horrific. The field is so covered with bodies that you could walk 500 yards without ever touching the ground. The bright red coats are stained dark with blood and mud. The numbers are staggering. In less than 30 minutes of actual fighting, the British have suffered over 2,000 casualties. That includes nearly 300 dead and over 1,200 wounded. And the Americans? It is almost impossible to believe. On the American side, there are only 13 dead and perhaps 40 or 50 wounded. It is a miracle. It is a mathematical impossibility that has become reality. Andrew Jackson walks among the wounded and the dead. He is no longer just a general. He is now a national hero. The British army is broken. They limp back to their ships and sail away defeated. The mouth of the Mississippi remains in American hands. But here is the ultimate irony of this story. This entire tragedy did not need to happen. Unknown to the men in the swamp, peace had already been declared. On the 24th of December, 1814, weeks before the battle, the Treaty of Ghent was signed in Belgium, officially ending the war. But because news traveled so slowly by ship across the Atlantic, neither Jackson nor Pakenham knew the war was over. Some historians say the battle was meaningless because the treaty was already signed. But they are wrong. If the British had taken New Orleans, they might have ignored the treaty and kept the territory. Possession is 9/10 of the law, after all. And more importantly, this victory gave the United States a new sense of identity. Before this, the U.S. was a collection of colonies that happened to be united. After New Orleans, they were a nation that had beaten the greatest empire on earth twice. The Battle of New Orleans launched Andrew Jackson straight into the White House. He became the symbol of the common man and the frontier spirit. The song, "The Hunters of Kentucky," which celebrated the battle, became his campaign anthem. Today, if you visit the battlefield in Chalmette, just outside New Orleans, you can walk along the remains of the Rodriguez Canal. It is quiet now. The sugar cane is gone, and the swamp has been tamed. But the mighty Mississippi still flows past, just as it did on that foggy morning. If you close your eyes, you can almost hear the ghost of a fiddle playing a tune, and the rough voice of a pirate shouting orders. You can feel the ground shake with the phantom roar of artillery. It serves as a reminder of the day when a group of farmers and pirates and outcasts stood shoulder to shoulder in the mud and stopped an empire in its tracks. This was the Battle of New Orleans, the day the fog lifted and the world changed forever.